All right. Welcome to Off the Rails. I'm here with my main man, Scott. And Scott, I want you to look in the background. I want you to
Oh,
observe where I'm at. I'm in beautiful Las Vegas
oh
because
yeah.
when I'm talking about Scott, when we're going to talk about March Madness, I'm talking about nothing but money. I want you to look at the name behind there. It says South Point. Literally, when I go in there 2 hours later, it's going to say JT's Casino. I'm just telling you,
Oh,
I'm telling you that's
oh,
if I touch myself, I literally have the Bruins jersey on because it's
oh,
asbestos. It has asbestos. I am that hot. That is how hot I am going to be for this March Madness.
oh. I love it. So we're getting
I
some long shots, I take it. You can't win
well,
big with the top guy, Houston. Come on. That guy's in the top. He's going to be in the top one somewhere, right? He's going to be ranked number one
Scott,
somewhere.
Scott. You
I'm
know
just
what?
saying. I'm just
I
saying.
love the banter with you, but sometimes it doesn't matter what the odds are. You got to cash the ticket.
Hey, hey,
Not
big,
everything's
big
Trevor
money.
Bain. Not
Hey,
everything's Trevor Bain.
big
Okay.
money Jay. That's what we love about him. Big money
I
Jay.
have actually, I will tell you the story starting out this. I've had the last two winners of the NCAA tournament. Now, 2 years ago, it was more of a reach with UConn. Last year, they were a monster, but I happened to be here right after they lost Creighton. I think it was in January, and the odds went from
Uh huh.
6-1 to 10-1. And I was like, wow. And then they just rolled. Now, there's no
Right.
UConn, there's nobody like UConn this year, you
No.
know, with all full disclosure, I am on the Houston bandwagon. Who do you like, Scott?
I mean, my underdog is Kansas.
That's a good one.
Kansas, and then on the top of the board, I'm looking at Auburn. I like Auburn. I like to play. I think they're strong. I think they got the depth.
I,
I mean, but March Madness is something that
absolutely.
one loss, you're out. You know what I mean? I
To
mean,
me,
we've
to go ahead.
no. I was just saying, how many times have we seen one of the number one rankings get knocked out in the first round?
To me, it is truly the greatest sporting event in America
Yeah,
because it's not. I mean, hockey is an excellent tournament for the Stanley Cup because you have legitimate chances where an 8 seed can win the cup, but it's rare.
right.
In the NCAA, I would say every other year you're going to have a 10 seed or greater get to the Final Four. I mean,
Yeah,
you will have those long shots, the George Masons, the
yeah,
VCUs, those guys, they don't really Butler made it to the
yeah,
finals 2 years in a row, right? I mean,
yeah, yeah.
and as we saw with Kentucky losing in the first round last year, the mighty
Oh,
can fall. They have a bad night. The young guys, and that's the one great thing I think about the NCAA tournament is the smaller schools without the higher prospects, they stay together longer. And in that one game scenario, maybe the other guys at Kentucky or UCLA are got an eye on the door looking at the draft. And maybe that's why we have so many up first and second round upsets.
yeah, I agree with that. But there's also the players that went to the smaller D1 school that is
Mm-hmm.
an elite player that wants to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
So they go to a Dayton, they go to a Madison school, and they're able to be seen for the first two rounds, and that gets
Right.
them locked in for the NBA later on. That's the only
Sure.
choice you got because if you go to Duke, you might get swallowed up, you know,
Yeah.
and
Isn't
then,
that the path
and you,
Steph Curry took? Yeah.
yeah, exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly, so, and then you got Ohio State that might be squeaking in. I mean, they're just like UCLA. You get them in the March Madness, they might make it to the Sweet 16, you
Well,
know.
so much depends on your draw, right? I mean, the
Ah,
bracket. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, Sunday.
yeah, there's the Sunday. We're going to
Sunday.
see the bracket. We're going to see, like you astutely pointed out, Ohio State is on the verge. There's a lot of good teams in the Big Ten. I think they're only going to get six in, and there's probably going to
Yeah.
be two or three that are going to be. They got to have a good tournament this week. If they
Yeah.
don't,
Is,
it's over.
is the Big 12, are they going to get 13 teams in out of their 16?
I was looking at it, and I one of my long shots is in the Big 12. I everybody has been talking all year about how great the SEC is, and they are, but the Big
Mm-hmm.
12 is a strong number two.
Yeah.
I definitely see. Yeah, they're coming after me because they know I'm taking their money. I'm taking their money.
Hey, hey, my name's on the bottom right hand check tomorrow.
I don't want it in crypto. I want it in cash.
Right?
I'm going to
Right?
give it to you in Tesla stock.
Yeah. Let's get that gold bullion out, right? With Almeida face on it.
Exactly. Dogecoin. God bless you. God bless you. We're going to
Uh,
bring it back. But I think the Big Ten, I think, has, I'm looking at UCLA. If they don't win 2 games, I don't think they get in,
no. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
you
the
know?
tournaments happening now are
Mm-hmm.
really going to set precedents,
Mm-hmm.
it's just it's amazing how you can be a bottom dweller team and then you get into these tournaments and you can get back in and get into the madness. The madness is where it's at. You get hot,
Yeah.
you get hot. But how
Yeah.
long do you stay hot? The Cinderella story don't stay forever.
Nope.
You know, was it South
Yeah.
Florida like 8, 10 years ago that made that run to the Elite Eight?
Sure. Sure they
You know,
did. Yeah.
and then if you look back further, you look at Gonzaga. Like who was thinking about Gonzaga? And then all of a sudden now they're a stronghold and they've been struggling this year.
They have been struggling quite a bit. I was kind of surprised with Mark Few. Usually that guy just reloads and reloads. And he is actually, in my mind, probably one of the 3 best coaches in America. I mean, they're Gonzaga, man. They're in the middle of nowhere. I mean, how do
Yeah,
it's like UConn. They never, UConn is literally in Stores, Connecticut. There's nothing around there for 200 miles except rich
right,
houses. I think
right.
you live over there. I think that's where Scott lives. But,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah. Yeah, a little east of me, but yeah.
just a little, just a little. All right. So
Yeah,
let's start out at the top. What do you think about Duke?
I like Duke. I like Duke, but I think they're only going to get to the Elite Eight. Honestly,
Cooper
I
Flag. Cooper Flag's had a great year, but there's just something wrong with that team in my eye. And I
yes,
can't
yes,
really quantify it. And they are a really good team. John Shire is a great coach, or a very good coach. I'm not going to give him great until he wins the title. But
right.
there just seems like there's something amiss there. And I know it's everything when they come down to crunch, it's all Cooper Flag time, but we're going to see what happens here in the tournament. If they win the tournament, I'm going to have a different view. I mean, they got to
Yeah,
win 2
totally.
more games, but okay, let's go down to the number 2 in the rankings. Let's go to Auburn. What do you think of them?
I like Auburn. I like Auburn a
Hmm.
lot. That's what I'm leaning on. They've been consistent all year. They've been strong. I think the depth is there. I really
Hmm.
think that's what gets you there. But I mean, it's
Yeah.
all about the bracket. How they're going to set them up, to get them
Well, they're
through.
going to be a number 1 seed. Even
Yeah,
even
that
if
for
they
sure.
lose
But
in the SEC, they're going to get a number 1
yeah,
probably in the South, I would assume. I will say that, Auburn popped up. I started watching them at the Maui tournament at the beginning of the year, and that Broom kid is a monster. That
right.
he honestly should be college player of the year, but he's not going to get it because they're going to give it to the legacy program of Duke and Cooper Flag. He's the
Yep.
darling of what it is. But I do wonder, I mean, he was great against Alabama. He hit the 3-pointer with 30 seconds left to send it, to almost win that game. And I just wonder about his injuries because it almost seems like Auburn is doing a hockey type of thing where, oh, well, he's got a little banged up, but we really
Ah,
don't specify what that is.
smartest move ever.
Yeah,
I
I'm not going to argue.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you were talking about LeBron, about talking about his left groin being injured. You're like, why would they ever say that?
Right.
Here's hockey making it as lean as possible. Like, hey, he's hurt on the left. Like, protect the right. That's a strong side. Come on. You know,
Amen. I can't wait till hockey gets to the point where it goes outer body injury. And
right?
you have to decide what
Yeah,
that is because it's
yeah. Inner
lower half
soul.
or upper half.
his inner soul's hurt. Did he drink too much last night? What's going
Yes,
on?
exactly. All right.
Yeah,
Well, I'm gonna go down to my boys, the guys I really like, Houston. Let's get them as the number
yeah.
3.
That's Houston.
I will say at the first and foremost, Kelvin Sampson, before NIL was probably the biggest cheater as a coach in college basketball. That guy broke every rule, but he won. He won,
Hey,
man, and he's got the team now.
yeah. I mean, did you have the quote of Pat Riley? You fell and you fell. They can't call every one of them. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's his alma mater right there.
they they are like the anaconda. They seem to find a way. Every game is 64 to 58. It's
right?
60 to 56. They just find a way. Now they don't seem to have that one guy like they had last year who he put the team on his back and carry him.
Yep.
He got injured, and that's why I think they didn't get to the Final Four last year. But you know what? There's just something about that team. And like you talk about, I think the Big 12 is very underrated, even though
Yep.
they could get 10 teams in. That was a tough slog to get
Yeah.
through it and get to a number 3 seed or,
Yeah. What are you
third in the
thinking about?
polls.
What do you think about Tennessee? Tennessee.
I think Tennessee, for me, is my favorite team coming out of the SEC. I think they play great defense. I think they hit enough 3 pointers. That seems like the kind of team. I'm going to tell you right now, they're not going to win the SEC tournament. They're going to get to the semis. They're going to lose a fluky game, and then they're going to refortify and they're going to come back. I'm telling you, Tennessee looks really, really good. How about you?
Yeah, I like them. I like them. I think they're a little dark horse. I think they're going to get put later down. What you think in the bracket, third or fourth?
Right, right. Let's
And
go through
that's
a
that.
couple. Go
Those
ahead.
those are the trenches right there. You get into four,
Yeah,
five, and six. Those are the
yeah,
trenches because now you're playing against equal teams. You know, and
absolutely.
and the close battling games are really what I look at when I'm starting to pick out my madness. You know, what they did throughout the year about getting the barely squeaking wins, because that's what really
Right,
gets you mentally strong. That's what I'm
absolutely,
thinking. But I like how you jump
absolutely.
over Florida. Like, you
I
really put a
okay.
floor.
Okay, I'm a Florida fan. Let's get that out of the
Yeah.
way. I mean, that is just, I
Mm.
feel like I'm hearing confessional with Scott. Um, I'm a Florida fan, and I will say this that I thought they were going to fire the coach in the first week of the season. There was some allegations of him sexually harassing co-eds. And then as Florida started ascending in the polls, all of a sudden the allegations went away. Nothing to see here. Don't look
Hey,
nothing.
hey,
Uh,
winning,
you know,
winning,
eh,
winning, winning.
yeah, winning. And I look at Florida, they're 7 strong, but I just don't buy it. I don't know. I watch them. They've had some big wins. They beat Alabama. They beat Auburn. They beat Georgia. I mean, they got big wins. Don't get me wrong, but it just, I just need a guy who's going to score buckets in the last minute, and I don't know who
Yeah,
that is for Florida.
yeah, yeah. It's true. When you get down to the Final Four and the final, you need that person. You need him.
Right,
You
right,
need the
right.
Kobe. You need the Kobe that you're going to give him. Even though Kobe like missed quite a few at the beginning,
Sure.
he was sinking them at the end. That
Five
was your
titles.
guy.
Five,
Yeah,
yeah, right. My
yeah,
guy, right. I
yeah.
actually worked with Scott. Scott and I worked the day after Kobe scored 81. Yeah, and I had to see that and I had to listen to that all day. But I regress.
Beautiful.
Alabama is the 3 point monster. Nate Oates wants to shoot them all. He wants to shoot all day. This is a team that could get to the Final Four. The only problem is if they face a team like Houston with big wings on the outside, I don't know how effective they're going to be from the 3 point
Yep,
shot, and they will
yep,
live and die by it, in my
yep,
opinion.
yeah, yeah. The sword, it's double
Yeah,
edged, isn't it?
I'm not
What?
buying the
What?
Rick Pitino and St. John's either. Go ahead.
Right. What about the one team that doesn't have a mascot? Michigan. What are you thinking about Michigan? I still don't understand why they don't have a mascot. The Wolverine, like it's the greatest thing ever.
It's a perfect fit, and I don't understand what that is. I mean, why do they not have? I mean, Ohio State has a mascot, and what is a Brutus? Like what?
It's
I mean,
a, a brown circle.
it's a brown circle, man.
It was emoji before emoji came.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I got to be honest. I'm not really that interested in Michigan yet, and I'll tell you why. Is because I think in the Big Ten, you're looking at Michigan State, you're looking at
Yeah,
Maryland, you're looking at Illinois. I think we have 5 teams like a UCLA, um, a Michigan,
UCLA.
Wisconsin,
UCLA.
maybe. I know, but only
No,
3 of those guys are going to get in, and I don't know who's going to get left on the chopping room floor.
it's just shaking my head because UCLA, Pac-12.
I know,
The
I know.
turn. the Pac-12 forever, and now it's Big Ten. It's just still mind blowing.
I want to vomit every time I think about it. I grew up a
Ah,
Pac 12 fan. I grew up an ardent UCLA fan. And at the end of the day, they took the money, they ran to the Big Ten. They could have been the stalwart program, which I guess maybe they already are on the West Coast in terms of basketball. And they just took the goddamn money and they ran. And it's just, it
mm-hmm.
makes me sick to my gut. But
It does.
maybe they were ahead of the curve. Only time's going to
Maybe.
tell.
Yeah, yeah, for
You know,
sure.
and it's so funny, and they talk about, we're all in this together and whatever, but boy, they sure couldn't leave Oregon State and Washington State at the altar quick enough. See you
Right?
later.
Right?
Everybody scramble for the lifeboats on the
Yeah.
Titanic.
Yeah. The limo drives by for the prom date.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. I'm going to go for the other two teams that I really, really like. I don't know. I'm going to bet one of them for the title. I like Iowa State.
Yeah.
Um,
They play
Iowa
good and
State, Iowa State, I saw the number when their starting five play, they are 23-2. Now they've had injuries. Everybody is supposedly back healthy. Now, I don't know if that's real. I'm going to believe it. Okay. But
right?
that is a dynamite team. They play like Houston. They're maybe a little Houston light, but man, they won the Big 12 tournament last year. I mean,
Yeah.
they are a monster.
Yeah. So we have so you got Houston, you got Iowa State. Who's your third? Let's get three of them. Let's get three down.
Okay, if I was going to take the third, I would take Tennessee. I like
Ah, yeah.
Tennessee. I really do enjoy Tennessee. Now, look, I know people are looking for long shots to get in from the outside. To me, the team, I mean, look, there's going to be some mid major that's going to make it. Okay. I'm not going to be
Yep.
able to predict it, right? But I really have liked the way BYU has played this year. They have
Yeah.
been competitive in every game. Mark Pope
Yep.
left a full roster when he went to Kentucky. And I look up every night and they seem to win. And for
Yep.
some reason, they can't get past 18 or 19 in the polls, and I think there's a lot of bias against the Mormon school, whatever it is.
Yeah.
How about you? Who do you like your top three?
Well, I'm leaning towards Auburn. I like
Okay,
them on the
good
top,
pick.
and then
Good
I do
pick.
like Tennessee. I agree with you on Tennessee, and then Kansas. Just I think there's something on the table. They started off at the number one team, and then they fell apart. But hopefully they come back. Get them in the tournament. Let's see what happens.
I like what you're thinking. And like we talked about in the previous podcast, back in the day, I went up to bet Kansas to win the title. I saw
Yeah.
Scott. He said bet Duke. Scott was right. Okay. I was wrong. Kansas. I will say this about Kansas. They have what I've been talking about and you've been talking about. They have Hunter Dickinson, and that guy can score a bucket almost at will.
Yep.
He is a 25 and 10 machine. The only thing I am worried about, and I've probably only watched 5 Kansas games this year, but I've seen two, and I believe one was Baylor, and I can't remember the other. They had a 20-point lead and they went into overtime and then they lost. And
Yeah.
I just maybe they've gotten better as the season has progressed. Bill Self's a great coach. Now you're not going to tell me there's a better coach in America, but there just seems like I don't understand losing 20-point leads in the second half in college basketball. That's a real weird one for me.
And that will happen in the madness. These guys are going to get
Sure,
tired.
sure.
They're going to explode out, and then they might dwindle away, and the other team will see. I mean, we see that happen quite a bit in the madness. It's like I've
Yeah,
seen it where there's a 20, 30 point lead, and you're like, oh, this game's done. Let me go to the other game, and then all of a sudden you're getting an alert, upset
absolutely.
alert. Like, what the heck just happened? You
And
know,
that's the best thing about the 3-point shot, right?
it is.
You just go to it. You can just go. We're coming down the court. 10 seconds. We're setting up, and we're going to a wing, and we're shooting.
Yep.
And if you hit 5 out of 6, all of a sudden that's the equalizer, right?
Yeah. It is. It
It
is. Yeah.
is.
Those are my three: Auburn, Tennessee, and Kansas. I like those
Okay.
guys.
Okay. So let's give the viewers a little bonus. We're almost up to time here, but who do you like offhand in the SEC tournament to win? There's a lot of good
Uh,
teams. I know. I know. I was coming strong. I was coming strong here, kid.
uh, you know, uh, I'm gonna
I
have to
know.
pass on that. I'm gonna have to
Okay.
pass on that one, Jay.
You know what? I'm gonna ride with your boys, Auburn. I think Broom is. I think he is the guy. ACC. It's just so hard for me. I'm gonna go with an upset in the ACC. I'm gonna say Clemson. I just
Oh
think they're
wow,
playing well. I don't think they're going to do well in the tournament, but they are playing very well as a team. Big
nice.
Ten, I'm going to go with Michigan State. That's the chalk.
Yeah,
I don't advise anybody. If you're looking for an outsider, I would look at Illinois. They seem to have some really, really good players. They always play strong in the tournament. Um, all right. Anything
I
else
like
you want
it.
to say?
No, I mean, I think I like it. I like covering the March Madness. I can't wait for Selection Day Sunday. Then we can
Oh,
really get into it.
Monday, we are going to be going over it. I will tell everybody who's listening to the podcast, and I'm being sincere here as I can be. Friday, we're going to do the NASCAR preview. Fridays are going to be NASCAR preview. This Monday, we're going to go over March Madness and recap NASCAR. And if you heard our previous podcast, I've got a couple incredibly positive feedback on Scott's knowledge. They were amazed at Scott's knowledge. And I'm going to tell you, Scott's a straight shooter. It's not a straight shooter like I consider Fox, where there's an agenda behind everything,
True.
you know. But at the end of the day, I look forward to seeing Friday. Is there anybody you're kind of looking at for this weekend before we really do a deep dive on Friday?
You just can't go against the big three: Joe Gibbs, Hendrick, and
Yeah,
Penske.
right.
I think either I think
Bell?
Ba
Oh,
no, not Bell. He's not going to get four. I'd be really surprised on
I
that.
agree.
I like the 12 car, Blaney. Easy for me to see right now. Dave Blaney, I
Okay.
like him.
Wow, that's a
I
nice
don't
shot.
think that I think the Fords are actually going to show up and win early in the season this year. They've had
It
3 years
seems
with this
like it.
car, this new nose and everything. It seems good, but I mean Larson looks good. I mean a back dweller. I like Noah Gregskin. Really like him. And then
I
you got
like that guy a
Kyle.
lot.
Yeah, you got Noah and Kyle. They're both Vegas guys. So, to win
Sure.
hometown, that's always big.
No
So,
doubt. Let me put you on the spot. I know you're a Kyle Busch fan. Do you think he's going to get a win this year? He looks like he's on the verge, but it seems like there's something that's falling off at the end, and I don't know what that is.
well, new crew chief, right? Changed
Mm-hmm.
up the team. RCR really
Mm-hmm.
is listening to him. And there's something that says when you start getting those top tens, you can believe that you can get top fives. That he's
Sure.
in the mix. He wasn't in the
Mm-hmm.
mix last year. I mean, doing little crazy tricks with tire pressure and getting up there for a minute or two, that's one thing. But when you're leading
Right.
laps, the real season starts here at Phoenix and Vegas. Like, think about it. Vegas is in the championship round. Phoenix is the championship round. Like, this is where you got to pay attention. I really think, he will get a win this year.
Okay.
Road courses, short track, I would be watching for him, and
Mm-hmm.
couple mile and a half, he'll show up.
Sure.
It seems like any restricted thing with RCR, they really show up. And hometown, I'd put some money on him for sure.
All
But he
right.
will win this year. I think he will get one this year. I think he only has 3 more wins in himself, honestly.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
you
Well,
know,
I mean, I personally, I'm not a Kyle Busch fan, but he
yeah,
has an incredible legacy. I mean,
yeah,
the numbers are the numbers, right?
yeah, totally.
And I honestly would like to see him get back into winner circle,
Yeah.
just for his, what it would mean to him to kind of cap. I mean, I always wished at the end Jimmy Johnson would have got back into winner circle. I mean, he
Y-
went through that incredible
Yeah.
whatever he was like a Ronin. He was just
Yeah.
bouncing around, right?
Yeah.
Nobody really
Yeah.
wanted to
Well,
give him a home.
yeah. You never know when your last one's going to be. That's the thing. They can
Right.
dominate and all of a sudden just fall off. It's amazing how they can, that razor edge all of a sudden gets super wide when you get older, but I really think he's in a car now, and I think RCR is really giving him something to beat at the top. So I'd look
Yeah.
at him this weekend, and then Bristol he's always good at, Dover he's always good at, and then you got the snoozer Pocono. You get
Oh
horsepower,
God.
you can win.
Do we only have one race at Pocono this year?
No, no, the France
Oh
family found that
God.
race. They'll never get rid of it. It's not
Oh
like
God.
California. Pocono is going to
Yeah.
stay forever. It's going to be
Yeah,
the
we gotta have
cockroach of
two.
NASCAR. The cockroach of NASCAR.
It's like the
Oh,
in-laws who come and never leave.
right, right. Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
uh, isn't it time for them to go? They're buying furniture.
True that. True that.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Scott. And we will be
Yeah.
back on Friday with a new podcast. Please hit the like and subscribe for
All
Off
right.
the Rails. I appreciate it. What's that?
I'm just envisioning how you're going to put Almeida on that building back there.
It is. It is. It's going to be JT. It's going to be nothing but me. And I'm going to put it in bright lights. And I promise
Shocker.
to give everybody comp tickets in the sports book.
Oh, nice. Free hot dog. Free hot
Yeah,
dog.
free hot dogs. Cold
Diet Coke,
cuts.
no ice,
Cold
please.
cuts.
Yeah, cold
Get those
cuts. Here,
cold
give me a
cuts. There
cold
you
cut.
go.
I love it. I
All
love
right,
it.
brother. I'll see you on Friday. Okay.
All right.
All right. Bye
All
bye.
right.
Bye.
Do, 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 do.